$375 million. That's the price that a New Mexico jury determined needs to be paid because social media platforms, and particularly Meta, allowed their platforms to be hunting grounds for predators. When you think about Meta under Zuckerberg's leadership, this is just one of many instances where the company has played fast and loose with anything and everything that you can think of. And here's the problem that I have with it. $375 million might as well be the same as 2 nickels are to us. Because when you look at the valuation of Meta as a company, any judgment in the millions is nothing. And I would argue any judgment in the single-digit billions is nothing. And that's part of the problem. When you look at social media platforms who deliberately allow foreign actors, predators, misinformation, disinformation, and have algorithms that are tailor-made and designed to screw with the mental states of adults and children and knowingly push that out, the idea that they shouldn't be held liable for causing that damage when it occurs is beyond silly. The owners of these platforms have a responsibility to curate their landscape in such a way that it reduces or prevents harm to the users of that platform. The logic that I use is this: if you design a car and in the engineering rooms, you know that the transmission, the steering wheel, the engine, the wheels, all the critical parts on it are designed to be faulty, and the vehicle breaks down and kills people, you're on the hook for that negligence. For some reason, it doesn't apply to the owners of these social media platforms to the degree that it should. There have been countless instances of suicides and mental health problems that have been directly attributed to how social media has warped the discourse and warped people's self-perception. And the fact that we're only dishing out fines that amount to nickels and dimes is mind-blowing. But this is par for the course. This is what happens when you have billionaires infesting every aspect of society. Meta is a billionaire-owned company, and the fact that billionaires even exist is an indictment on how society is currently structured. But the thing that makes this fine unlikely to be enforced is that you have leadership in the highest levels of government that are openly enabling billionaires like Zuckerberg to do whatever they want. Think about all of the different instances where guilty verdicts and jail sentences for predators, traffickers, billionaires who committed financial fraud were all wiped away by the melon felon. Because one thing that we can be certain about is that criminal billionaires will protect their own. And when you have a criminal billionaire that's in office, he's going to protect his people. So don't be surprised if this fine that was levied against Meta gets waved away, of course, in exchange for several $1 million to be sent off to Qatar for the Board of Peace or whatever grift is happening to be run right now. And this is just one example of the criminality that's happening amongst the billionaire class. When they're not raping and molesting children, they're busy stealing everything that isn't nailed down. There is no reason that billionaires should exist. They should be wiped off the face of the planet. And if you can't have that, they should be spending as much of their time behind bars under high security supervision as possible. These people are the biggest parasites in society, and yet they control everything and they make our lives more and more miserable every day. And it's only going to continue to get worse, because one of the things that's happening at the hands and the orders of this regime is a level of consolidation amongst the billionaire class that has them controlling just about everything. Social media is one aspect of the narrative that they're controlling. Now they're actually controlling several media entities as well. When you think about TikTok and Paramount and CBS and ABC, they're all controlled by billionaires. And that consolidation is going to continue and expand with the announcement of yet another media merger involving Nexstar and Tegna. And the owners of those companies have made it their mission to fight quote unquote fake news. And you know what that means. That means it's only going to be regime friendly narratives that are going to be pushed forward. The irony of all of this is that this is a regime, and the US as a country is one that's quick to point the finger at state-run media at all sorts of different countries without taking a moment to look at the level of control that billionaires exert on the media landscape in the US. The Nexstar-Tegna merger is going to put 80% of the broadcast media entities under the billionaire control of yet another Trump ally. So you have Ellison controlling media entities, you have Bezos controlling media entities. The Nexstar-Tegna merger is another billionaire-owned media entity. Facebook is a billionaire-owned media entity that helped Trump get elected in 2016 by allowing for Russian disinformation and misinformation to interfere with the election and interfere with the public discourse. You have Musk, who controls Twitter. So all of these Nazi and Nazi-enabling billionaires control the media narrative and the vehicles for reporting across the country. How likely do you think it's going to be that we're going to get objective reporting about anything that goes on? How likely is it that you think that anything critical of the regime or regime allies is ever going to see the light of day with these people in charge? Which leaves us with two options. One, eliminate and exterminate the billionaire class by whatever means necessary. And if we can't have that, the more reasonable approach is tax them out of existence. And if we can't have that, put them all in jail and leave them to rot and bust up their companies. Because the level of criminality that's happening under the watch of these predator and pedophile billionaires is beyond the pale. And they are the reason why the vast majority of the population today is living paycheck to paycheck, because they are gobbling up all the resources and removing all of the avenues for recourse that we have. So when you think about the landscape and you think about these fines, the numbers might sound big, but they're not even a drop in the bucket when you consider the amount of wealth that these people control. The most reasonable option that we are presenting is a 99% tax rate. The ideal option should be pages that are taken out of 1789 France.